The news of the world, integrity, credibility, journalistic ability. You had none of these and yet you still managed to attract millions of followers. For this you will forever be a source of inspiration. This episode is sponsored by McMahon's Bistro. You can have your ice cream as soon as we're done stuffing the vegetables down your throat. Hello and welcome to Dirtsheet Dave, bringing you all the wrestling news for this week. Eagle-eye viewers will have noticed that it's been a few weeks since my last video. This is because yours truly was treated to a lovely vacation, courtesy of the money made by passing this fictional stuff off as, from the money made through those listeners who want the inside information that comes from legit and completely credible sources. There's certainly nothing wrong with paying for wrestling news and backstage rumours that can be found anywhere else online. It's not foolish at all. Anyway, while on holidays, I happened to bump into quite a few familiar faces. WWE recently revealed a new computer game project entitled WWE Brawl. A game which will take stylized wrestling out of the ring and put the wrestlers out on the streets to do battle. Early footage has caused many to liken the game to Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, as opposed to the SmackDown vs Raw games which have been copy-pasted for decades now. This follows the recently released WWE Slingshot game as well, which is a take on the ever-popular Angry Birds concept. Indeed, it would seem that to improve dwindling video game sales, WWE have been trying to develop more and more new ideas for their creative departments. I managed to talk to sources within the department, and they were able to share with me some of the ideas which are being discussed at the moment and the new genres that they want to break into to increase game sales. First off, I can exclusively reveal that World of Sports Entertainment is being pitched around. This would be a wrestling-based MMO game where you create a character and level him up through gyms with various bosses, towns with various minigames, and pay-per-view events which would act like high-level raids from World of Warcraft. The bosses would be modelled on current WWE superstars, with the ultimate bosses being Triple H and John Cena. Of course, these bosses would be invincible, but the aim of the game would be to see how much damage you can deal to them before they wipe you out and bury you. Also on the cards is a first-person wrestling game, which is being designed to give players a genuine experience of how it feels to debut in WWE. You would only be able to play as a created wrestler and would then have to work your way up through the roster, starting off as a young and dynamic character intent on becoming a main eventer. Of course, this being a realistic simulator, you'd face nameless jobbers for a few weeks before getting an in-game message that Vince McMahon has become bored with you, and you'd start facing impossible to beat opponents. It's being said that the developers have already pumped quite a bit of money into realistic lighting structures, since the player will, eventually, spend quite a bit of time looking up at the ceiling. Cara, not content with just botching in the ring, has now botched outside the ring as well. It has been announced that Cara has been suspended for failing a wellness test, having tested positive for steroids. Yes, really, Cara on steroids. This guy takes steroids. This guy didn't fail, nor did this guy. Nope, it was this guy. Sometimes you just can't make these stories up. Some other Dirtsheet websites are reporting that Cara could actually be released over the upcoming weeks, with the powers that be having grown tired of the experiment to find the next Rey Mysterio. These websites, however, are dead wrong. In actuality, this suspension has raised Cara's profile among his WWE colleagues, who see this as a rite of passage. Cara will return in a few weeks and be placed into a high-profile feud and is currently scheduled to face off against Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. In related news, CM Punk's recent disappearance from WWE TV was actually due to the fact that he was serving a suspension after having tested positive for steroids and cocaine. There's been concern about WWE stock prices since it was announced on Monday Night Raw last week that Triple H will be taking over the day-to-day running of WWE. The worry is that investors will lose faith in WWE as a business, as times of internal change always cause fluctuations in stock price. However, I've always been a glass half full type of guy, and I see this as a great opportunity. If WWE stock prices are going to drop, that means we now have the perfect opportunity to invest in the company and to try and make a difference. Yours truly has now bought a portion of WWE and plans to use his newfound powers as a stockholder to his advantage. I'm going to start working my way up the stockholders ladder and try and buy a controlling portion of the WWE. Once I get that done, I plan on pushing Zack Ryder to the main event, having John Cena job on the undercard, have 7 different brands so we can have 7 different shows each night of the week. Huh? What's that? The most I could buy is about 30% of the company? Okay. Well, surely that would mean I'd at least have a decent vote in the everyday going-ons in the What? The most I could have is a 4% voting stake? How the hell does that work? Okay, back to the drawing board. And I guess that brings us to our viewer's question of the week. Dara in Dublin asks, is Triple H now in charge of WWE as a whole, or is it just an on-screen storyline? No, of course Triple H is not. Vince will always be running the WWE, to the extent that he has pumped a lot of money into biotic artificial intelligence, so that even when his body one day expires, his mind may still exist and live on, immortal and continuing to run the WWE forever. This company will never not have Vince McMahon working backstage. Never. Things are never going to change.